In computer science, data compression shrinks massive, complex files into a single string of characters. Botanists use the exact same logic. This string of characters functions as the architectural blueprint for the Solanaceae family, the group containing nightshade, tomatoes, and potatoes. This diagram maps out the three-dimensional geometry dictated by that formula. Every character in the sequence translates directly to a physical structure on a two-dimensional schematic. Memorizing botanical vocabulary in isolation provides little insight. We must instead learn to read these morphological rules as a code that maps biological engineering. To read the code, we first define the variables. A standard flower is built in concentric layers called whorls, which naturally grow outward from a central point. The outer two whorls form the protective hardware. First is the calyx, made up of the sepals and denoted by the letter K. Inside that is the corolla, made of the petals and marked as C. This diagram illustrates those outer layers surrounding the reproductive core, the androecium, or male stamens, denoted as A, and the central gynoecium, containing the female carpels, marked with a G. Every other symbol in the botanical code exists strictly to modify these four base layers, logging the exact shape, position, or physical fusion of the plant's hardware. The first variable dictating a flower's architecture is its symmetry. This rule establishes the physical boundaries for how a pollinator can interact with the flower. This drawing illustrates actinomorphic morphology. The flower possesses radial symmetry, allowing it to be divided into equal halves across multiple radial planes. For a foraging insect, a radial target is highly accessible. It can be approached from any angle with equal success, maximizing the probability of cross-pollination. Contrast that with the zygomorphic morphology of a pea flower. This is bilateral symmetry, which can only be divided into equal halves through a single vertical plane. These structural constraints are the first variables logged in the master formula. Radial symmetry is marked by a circle with intersecting lines, while bilateral symmetry is denoted by a percentage sign. That single character sets the geometric stage, dictating how the remaining whorls will arrange themselves. Once symmetry is established, the plant must solve a spatial problem: how to pack wide protective layers tightly inside a closed bud. Botanists call this geometric puzzle aestivation. This diagram details valvate aestivation, where petal margins touch exactly without overlapping. If margins cross, the plant uses twisted or imbricate aestivation, creating a tighter seal. The most complex is vexillary aestivation, unique to families like legumes. It relies on a structural hierarchy. One massive outer petal, the standard, encloses two lateral wings. Those wings, in turn, tightly seal around two fused anterior petals called the keel. Whenever these individual petals physically fuse into a single continuous structure, the cohesion is logged in the code by placing the number inside brackets. These patterns are precise mechanical solutions for deploying petals from a compressed state into a fully functional bloom. We have mapped how the whorls pack together horizontally. Now we must plot the vertical architecture of the entire structure. The central base platform of the flower is the thalamus. The final structural variable is the position of the reproductive ovary relative to the other whorls on that platform. This illustration outlines a hypogynous architecture. The gynoecium occupies the highest point on the thalamus, with the other whorls attached below it. This is a superior ovary. To translate this elevation into the botanical code, we write the letter G and draw a line directly beneath it. Conversely, figure D demonstrates an epigynous flower. Here, the margins of the thalamus grow upward to completely enclose the ovary, creating an inferior ovary. In the formula, an enclosed ovary is denoted by drawing that line directly over the top of the G. The placement of this horizontal stroke records a specific vertical shift in construction. By positioning the ovary above the other whorls, or enclosing it entirely within the thalamus, the plant dictates how it will physically shield its developing seeds from environmental stress or predation. We can see the variables in action by putting two formulas side by side: the Solanaceae family we started with, and the Fabaceae, or pea family. Reading sequentially, the top code outlines a radially symmetrical flower with fused petals and a superior ovary containing two carpels. This diagram shows exactly what the arc connecting the C and the A means. The stamens are epipetalous. emerging directly out of the fused petal ring rather than the thalamus. Now look at the Fabaceae line. We see bilateral symmetry and the exact mathematical signature for vexillary aestivation, a 1+2+2 petal arrangement. This diagram illustrates the diadelphous stamen arrangement mapped by the formula 9 male stamens physically fused into a bundle, with one left independent. We have successfully translated abstract text back into precise three-dimensional biological realities. The angiosperm world contains hundreds of thousands of species, presenting a massive and diverse array of physical forms. But as a bud opens, we see how micro-level geometry dictates mechanical function. This precise unfurling is required for the plant to reproduce. Botanists use the floral formula as a predictive instrument to map evolutionary relationships between seemingly unrelated species. Understanding the rules of symmetry, aestivation, and position allows a researcher to translate the complex physical architecture of almost any flower on Earth back into its foundational blueprint. Nature's seemingly infinite physical variations are built upon a finite set of geometric rules, and now you know how to read them.